The leader of the group had the taser, a snub-nosed stun gun that looked like a miniature super soaker. There were 6 baseball bats and 2 commercial bolt cutters scattered among them, hung on loops beneath casual jackets. A 17-year-old boy, muscled up from whitewater kayaking, had the 10-pound sledgehammer. They all carried ski masks and heavy work gloves. 12 young people altogether, male and female in equal numbers, most still in their teens. If they were stopped by the police, there would be no defense for the gear, so they were on edge, jumpy, looking around as they walked, ready to run. But the distance from the cars was short, and the exposure was brief, a risk that had to be taken. They had one big fence to get through. The fence was 12 feet high, with razor wire on the top. They couldn't climb it. The bottom of the fence was set in a band of concrete. They couldn't dig under it. They couldn't cut through it or even touch it because of a spider web of motion alarms. There was one possible entry, at a back gate. The gate, which was almost never used, was secured with an electronic lock that opened only with the right magnetic card. They didn't have one of those. They did have a deck of obsolete cards kept by the son of a former researcher. The boy was a computer hacker who'd studied the cards for years and claimed to have found the algorithm by which the codes were updated. Eventually, one of the women in the group had paid attention to what he was saying. She'd led him through cyber attacks on several animal lab facilities, and the damage had been impressive. The woman took the high school senior as a lover to tie him more tightly to the group. 2 weeks earlier, he'd stuck a recorder card into the electronic lock to get a reading on the current lock code. A few hours later, he'd produced a new card that he swore would open the gate and silence the alarms around it. Some of the members of the group had their doubts, but the boy didn't. He was ultimately convincing. All 12 of the raiders were committed, some more committed than others. At least 2 would give great sighs of relief if the card failed and they couldn't get in. The target was a research laboratory near the university in Eugene, Oregon, a heavy user of live animals. The usual mice and rats, but also rabbits, cats, and rhesus monkeys. The lab's website was glossy and vague. A lot of PR double talk about searching for a cure for Parkinson's disease. But they had an insider who told them that something else was going on. Something a lot stranger and meaner. The animals, he said, were being used and abused in ways that had no relevance to Parkinson's or any other disease. "They're trying to make robots out of living beings," is the way he put it. "I don't know why, but I think they're planning to make robots out of people. They've killed hundreds of those monkeys, and they're killing more all the time." The raiders were ready to believe. They'd all been involved in tree sitting and tree spiking, and then more extreme environmental sabotage actions. They all knew each other and their various levels of commitment. 5 of the 12 had been to jail at least once. The others had been luckier, or faster.